Hello there, and welcome back to math class. In this video, we are beginning a new unit. We're looking at numbers and patterns. There's a lot of vocabulary in this unit. So I want to start right off with 4 flashcards. So if you need to pause the video, make sure that you find these 4 flashcards. One of them is composite number, prime number, factors, and multiple. So you need these 4 flashcards to do this unit with me. There's also a foldable piece. We'll get to that in the next video. But in this one, I want to talk to you about really, I guess, the title of this. Let's go ahead and give the page a title. I know your flashcards are not stuck down, but we're talking about factors and multiples. So if you had to give this one a main idea, it's factors and multiples. So let's do these flashcards and then I'll give you some examples of factors and multiples. I'm going to start with factors. So find your flashcard that says factors, and on the back, here's the definition. Factors are numbers that are multiplied together. And let's do some examples. Let's do 3 times 4 equals 12. So here are the factors, 3 and 4. You might also see 5 times 7 is 35. These would be the factors, 5 and 7. You may have 2 times 5 times 3. 2 5s are 10, times 3 is 30. So this time we have 3 factors. Okay. So factors are the numbers that you multiply together. Now let's take a look at the multiple. What is a multiple? A multiple is the product of factors. So if we look at those same examples, we have 3 times 4 is 12. The multiple is the 12. We have 5 times 7, and that is 35. So the multiple is 35. 2 times 5 times 3 is 30. The multiple is 30. So it's important that you understand the difference between factors and multiples. Okay, let's take a look at composite and prime. I want to start with prime. So prime number. A prime number is a multiple with only 2 factors and I can even tell you what the 2 factors will be. One of them will be a 1 and itself. And let me explain what I mean by that. 7 is a prime number. because 1 times 7 is 7, and there is no other way to get a 7 than 1 times 7. It's 1 and the number itself. So the only factors of 7 are 1 and 7, and that makes 7 prime. 5 is another example. 1 times 5 is 5, and there is no other way to get a 5 with multiplication than that. 11. 1 times 11 is 11. There's no other way to multiply to get an 11. 13. 1 times 13 is 13. There is no other way to get a 13 than those two factors. So 7, 5, 11, and 13 are prime numbers. So let's take, for example, the number 15. It is not prime, and I'll show you why. A composite number is a multiple with more than two factors. For example, I mentioned 15. 15, you can say 1 times 15, but you can also say 3 times 5 to get 15. So remember, prime numbers we would have 1 and 15 and nothing else. But because we have 3 and 5, 15 is a composite number. Let's look at the number 48. This is always a good one to use. To do a 48, to factor a 48, I could say 1 times 48. I could say 2 times 24. 3 times 16. 4 times 12. 6 times 8. So all of these factors tell me that 48 itself is a composite number. And I know I'm throwing a lot of vocabulary at you here. We're going to practice this, but I needed to at least let you get the idea of what these definitions are so that we can actually practice. You have to know what they are that you have to know the definitions to understand what I'm about to do. So your flashcards should go back in your flashcard pocket. Remember to practice these every day, and you'll really build your math vocabulary. So let's practice this a little bit. You'll need a sheet of paper, and my flashcards I can't move, but yours you can, so just put those in the pocket and start on a clean sheet of paper. We're calling this factors and multiples. And here is the first number that I want us to look at. Let's take the number 17. Okay, so let's put 17 down there. Let's put it in a box. 17 is a multiple. And we're going to figure out if it's a prime multiple or a composite multiple. So to do that, we're going to list the factors. 1 times 17 Is there anything else you can think of that would multiply to be 17? There is not. Those are the only two factors of a 17. So this is a prime multiple. These are called the factors. Okay, let's look at the number 24. So let's draw that one. We know that this is the multiple, but we don't know yet if it's prime or composite. So let's start breaking this down. We know that 1 and 24 will work. I know that 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 8 is 24. And 4 times 6 is 24. So this is a composite multiple. It has lots of factors. And these are they. These are the factors of 24. So if the test question said, is 12 a factor of 24? I would say yes, it is, because it is in the list of factors. Okay, let's try 25. A lot of people tell me that 25 is a prime number. So let's see if it is. I know it's a multiple, but is it prime or is it composite? So we know that 1 and 25 would be factors. We know that 2 won't, you can't multiply by 2 and get 25, or 3, or 4, but what about 5? 5 times 5 is 25. So this is a composite multiple. And these are the factors. 25 has 3 factors: the 1, the 5, and the 25. Let's go ahead and do that. That's actually a good thing. With the 17, we only had 2 factors. With the 24, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 factors. Okay, let's try a 9. A lot of people say, oh, that's prime. And it may be, but let's see. We know that 1 times 9 would work. Can you think of anything else that would give you a 9 by multiplication? I can. What about 3 times 3? That equals 9. So this one has 1, 2, 3 factors. You only count that 3 one time. 3 factors. So it is a composite multiple. If you have 2 factors, it's a prime multiple. If you have 3 or more, it is considered composites. What about a 10? So we have obviously 1 and 10. That will always be your starting factors. 2 times 5. So this one has 4 factors. It is not prime if it has 4 factors. It is a composite multiple. Okay. So there's a little bit on prime and composite. If these are still a little bit confusing for you, I would watch this video again and practice your flashcards often. In the next video clip, I'm going to show you how to make a list of multiples. I am going to break that into a separate video though, so that you can come back and review parts of this lesson if you need to. Instead of having to do the whole thing again, you can just review the parts that you want to. So in the next video clip, I will show you how to list multiples.